All right, there are the NFC win totals from our friends at PointsBet Sportsbook. Bucs and Packers at 11.5, 49ers, Rams, Cowboys 10.5, and then you got everybody else in a conference that I think is, look, first one that jumped out to me, Packers are too high at 11.5.
Yeah,
now
100%.
I know that they have 6 cupcakes in their division, and I know they play, I think who do they play this year? It was 2 divisions that weren't all that difficult. The AFC North. No. They already played the AFC North. AFC East and the NFC East, I think, are the 2 divisions where they play every team. And, of course, every team in the NFC North plays those same 8 teams. Even then, and I know they've won 13 games 3 years in a row, but you take Devontae Adams out of the mix, and I think it becomes a little more challenging.
I agree
for the Green Bay Packers.
I'm with you, and that's the one that jumped out to me. I think more than any other. When I looked at it, I just went, "Wait, the Packers, like the team that already last year was not as good as a healthy Buccaneers, 49ers, or Rams football team, and now they lost the guy they're most dependent on to their success, other than Aaron Rodgers. I don't see that." Again, you said it right. I mean, yeah, their schedule's a little bit favorable, your division, but I would think your division's going to be better up there. I mean, Minnesota's going to have, a different look, a different vibe. That's not always easy to deal with. We know the Lions, they seem like they're headed in the right direction. The Bears, Justin Fields and company, it's not a great division. I understand that, but I guess I'm like you. I'm bearish on the Packers for sure. I think, again, they're going to win the division. I would expect that. And they'll still be one of the major players in the NFC. But I just don't look at their team and think they're on the same level as some of those other top teams in the conference.
Yeah. The Rams are too low at 10.5. I know they've got the 49ers and the Cardinals and the Seahawks. But, I mean, come on. We don't know what the 49ers are going to be with Trey Lance, assuming he's even the quarterback. The Cardinals, what do you know about them? They're going to start strong and fade down the stretch unless they somehow break that trend that goes all the way back to 2013 for Cliff Kingsbury. And the Seahawks are just kind of floating around aimlessly. So I just think that, I said this last week, I think we're sleeping on the Rams. Like last year, the Buccaneers, they're going to repeat. Why aren't we saying that about the Rams?
I don't know.
Everybody else in the NFC is taking a step back. And I know the Rams have lost some guys, but I feel better about the Rams right now from the standpoint of holding their spot than I do any of the other teams. The Bucs, but they don't have a head. I mean, look, I know that we have our opinions and our theories about who ordered the code red with Bruce Arians, but Bruce Arians is still gone, Chris. We talked about that last Thursday. He's still gone. They're not going to have him on game days. They're going to have a different head coach. That changes the dynamics for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That hurts the Buccaneers. That is an element of uncertainty that is going to potentially undermine their efforts to be as good as they can be. Of all the teams in the NFC, I feel like the Rams are the ones that are in the best position to equal, if not exceed, what they did last year.
I would think so. I'm with you. Again, there's no Odell Beckham Jr. as of right now. There's no Von Miller. It takes away from their team a little bit from what we saw. But they were a team that was kind of banged up and injured towards the end of the year too. They still got a pretty good receiving core with Van Jefferson, Cooper Kupp. The tight ends are pretty good. We know McVay and the offense going to have proper game plans. You're going to have Cam Akers back healthy 100%. Didn't have him all year. And the other things I look at to just go, wait, basic football knowledge would tell me year 2 in Raheem Morris's defensive system might be better. Matthew Stafford, year 2 in McVay's system and being more comfortable. I would expect that to be better. And right, they're playing, we said, was the NFC South and the AFC West, right? So it's not an easy schedule, that's for sure. But the NFC South, as it looks right now, you'd go, well, thank you for having that on the schedule. Other than the Bucs, I think any of those teams are going to look at it and go, well, we're not sure what the Saints are. There's no Sean Payton. Atlanta's total in a rebuild. Carolina, I don't even know who their quarterback's going to be yet. We don't know what's going on there. So I'm with you. I think people are sleeping on the Rams a little bit, no doubt. I still look at the Rams, the 49ers, and the Buccaneers to be elite football teams. Yeah, there's some questions here and there. We get that. But I just look at them and go, man, they're so well-rounded. in so many areas, and elite in more than one areas on their football team, their roster, that they're gonna say something about 2022 football.
Any of them jump out to you other than the Rams that seem on the low side?
The low side there, I don't know if anyone jumps out to me. I can't say that.
I got one.
You got one? Which one is it?
Saints.
The Saints at 7.5. That's probably the only one I looked at in that column to go, defense is still awesome. We got that. Jameis Winston, another year being a starting quarterback. Can Alvin Kamara stay healthy? I hear you. They're a team to look at. And then, like we just talked about, the NFC South, I mean, Carolina, Atlanta, they're certainly not going to be anything special. I hear you. The Saints would be one I'd think about.
The reality, though, is, look, there's a lot of teams in single digits. Some of those teams are going to sail over 10. That's part of the fun of it. We don't know which teams are going to have the planets line up just right. And as you said, and this is an excellent point, you said it last segment, let's say it again, how your schedule is constructed, which games you have early. I mean, you could come out of the first months of the season 4-0 or 0-4, depending upon which of your games land in those first four spots.
Right, and where they're at. And right,
you're going to feel very differently.
Right.
Very differently about where things go from there. So that's a very real practical concern, and it would give you a reason to not rush to buy your ticket, although if you want to, feel free, but you have more information when the schedules are locked in. And you'll get a sense, one of these teams that's not supposed to be very good, well, they get all their easy games.
Right.
Out of the you've seen it happen. You've seen it on the inside. We've seen it on the outside. A team that has not really clear expectation for what it's going to be in a given year. They get their easy games first, and they get that 4-0 record, 5-0, 5-1, and then they embark on their tougher stretch. They're in a better position to go win those games because they have greater confidence in themselves than they would if they're getting their asses kicked all over the place to start the season.
100%. It does. It builds confidence. That's what it does. It builds confidence. It builds momentum. You start to learn little nuances of, oh, wait, this is why we won the football game. We did this well. We eliminated that. So that starts to filter through the team as far as how to play that way. I think it's a very real aspect within the NFL building. And if you can, have an easy schedule and then all of a sudden maybe steal a game you weren't supposed to steal or win a game against a team, then you start sitting there going, oh, wait, we're good. Whoa, we're good. Whoa, we got a chance here to really set ourselves up. Maybe we can get a home playoff game. And it catches fire. That's what happens with an organization, and that's what that early part of the schedule can do last year. I was trying to look at, was there a team last year that kind of jumped out that way that you look at to go, they kind of did that. I look at the Cowboys a little. I'm trying to think of any other teams. I know they started with the Bucs, but they got Chargers in week 2. With Brandon Staley taking over the team. The Eagles are still trying to figure themselves out. The Carolina Panthers, they were a new team, and then they got the Giants. I was trying to think of teams that are set up that way. The opposite, of course, was the Colts, like we talked about in the first segment, and that first 4 weeks very important to how it can set up a football team.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.